The Mesilas Yesharim, page 14, had explained that a person who is endowed with intelligence and he doesn't reflect and evaluate his behavior before he actually acts on whatever he does, he says he's less than an animal. Why? Because an animal was created with what? With instinct. Instinctively, that's how it functions, to protect itself from danger. A human being was endowed with intelligence to make evaluations, not to just be drawn after his natural inclinations without evaluating. And if you allow yourself just to be drawn and driven by your inclination, he says you're putting your neshama into danger, because it may go into the oblivion, because you may do things which are totally unacceptable. See, he says, Ki ulam, the end of the second paragraph, Chesun hashmiro, ne'ivoran hativi, the lack of cognizance, of vigilance, because of the natural blindness. The Ivoran Haritzoni, a person chooses to turn a blind eye. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a person just doesn't know, or he chooses to turn a blind eye. You know, that's not my thing. Person chooses. It's all the same. Factually, you have the ability to see it correctly, and you choose not to see it. It's not my thing. The person made a choice. I'll give you an example I used to say. What is the differentiating factor in a human being and an animal or any other living creature? Choice. Free choice. A human being, in most situations, how often do you actually draw upon choice, free choice, which makes its significance to the essence of the person? Very rarely. Let's say a person, he makes a decision, I speak my mind. I speak truth, regardless if it conforms with the laws of Lashon Hara and Rechibos, or whatever it is, or truthfulness. So every time now when he speaks, it's not a value, am I permitted to say this or not? He's made one decision. I speak my mind, I do what I want. So he made one decision. One decision, now he's a free agent, do as he pleases. So where does free choice manifest itself? What's its application? You know, what kind of suit do I buy? What kind of apartment? How do I decorate? What am I eating for supper? Etiquette, but in anything significant, choice has no value. The value of choice, why human beings endowed with choice, he missed the boat. The person is not applying it where he should apply it. In business, right? He has to make a choice. He has to make a decision. Is this the deal to get involved with? How do you treat an employee, not treat an employee? But in terms of what its value is, most people don't apply it where its true value is needed. It has to be applied. Give an example. The Torah says, "L'surach einechem." Right? You're not putting the veer after your eyes. You're walking down the street in the summer. Choice is continuous, right? What do? So you have challenges. Every moment you have a challenge. You have to make a choice. Do you look down at the ground? Do you look to the side? Do you try to evade what you see or not? Some people say, it's irrelevant. It's an impossible situation. Therefore, I feel I'm not responsible. You may feel whatever you feel. But if it's within your ability to make a difference, then you are responsible. There is liability. Many things. It's culpability for everyone. It's the degree of culpability. That's the only difference. He says, Yirmiyah, he says, he bemoaned the evils of his generation, among whom the affliction was like a plague. This affliction. They would turn a blind eye. They would not be cognizant of their actions without focusing what they're doing. Are they doing right or doing wrong? It's a famous word. He's going to cite the Gemara in Brachos. The Gemara says that a person, the two expressions, yimashmish b'masov, yifashrish b'masov. So he gives the example, a person, let's say, wants to feel the quality of a fabric. when he's purchasing a suit or he's buying textile. So he says, if we're talking about the differentiate between quality and inferior, you just have to touch it. And you see the difference. One is inferior, one's coarse, one is soft. What about you're already within the quality fabrics, and you want to discern between better quality, slightly less quality? It's not enough to touch it. Then you have to really rub it. By rubbing it, we're speaking to a person has some level of expertise, he's able to sense the difference within quality, what is greater quality, what's lesser quality. They're both quality. So that's what he speaks about later. First, you have to discern, is it permitted, not permitted? That's like inferior and right and wrong. And even within the right, when you make an evaluation, is it right enough? Let's say you have two situations. Do I do mitzvah A, do I do mitzvah B? And when you do the mitzvah, after you've done it, did you do it correctly? So that that needs a greater degree of focus. He speaks later, that's yiras chet. Even after you do the mitzvah, you're always concerned maybe it wasn't done well enough. So what do you have to do? You have to make an evaluation. Right? Was it done with the proper kavanah? Did it have all its components when you did the mitzvah, so on and so forth?
Well, but he mentioned there's so you don't wear a black hat. You say you wore a fishing cap.
You've seen the picture recently.
Right. It was on the video.
Okay.
So
Newsreel.
that newsreel.
Okay, go ahead.
So that kind of calculation, where
What does that have to do with it?
I'm just saying. So who he is and what he represents.
That he did for the sake of humility.
Oh, the humility.
Yeah. The Chofetz Chaim never portrayed himself as a rabbi. I mean, he was a posek,
Right.
but he was not a rabbi of the community. There was a story where the Chofetz Chaim never had smicha, wasn't ordained. Could you imagine? The rabbi of the uptown Manhattan synagogue is ordained, and Chofetz Chaim was not ordained. Understand? So there was a time, for governmental purposes, he needed smicha. So there was a city called Navardik in Europe. The Aruch HaShulchan, his name was Rabbi Epstein. He was the Rav in Navardik. That's where he came. He came from Navardik, and the Chofetz Chaim, for whatever it was, had to do with ransoming somebody. He had to intervene, the government, to save somebody's life. He had to be a rabbi, and they needed this letter sent from him specifically. But if he wouldn't write rabbi, it would be determined he wasn't ordained. It wouldn't have the effect. So over the telegraph, ... whatever it was, so he sent over the telegraph, Yori Yori Yodin Yodin, meaning the full smicha. That's the only time, because the Chofetz Chaim interpret the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Sneis HaRabbanos. You should despise Rabbanos. So the whole idea is Pirkei Avos. Ehovis HaMalocha, Sneis HaRabbanos. Love work and despise Rabbanos. The question, what does Rabbanos mean? Does it mean rabbinic position, or Rabbanos means a position where you lord over people? Meaning that aspect of the position. That's what you should despise. It doesn't mean the actual you shouldn't be a Rav. Okay, so he felt, when people very often travel, they didn't even know who he was. He felt it wasn't important they should know who he was. If he felt it was important, then he would have dressed differently.
So he never got smicha all his life?
That was the only time he had smicha.
So then he had smicha.
But again, he was offered. But there's no such thing temporary. Once you have it, you have it.
So he had it.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Mendelovich, who was the main force Torah V'Nas, he had smicha from the son of the Chassam Sofer, from the Ksav Sofer. When he came to America, he went to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which was a Hungarian community, and he was an elementary school teacher. He used to knock on doors recruiting children for Jewish education. He tore it up when he came. Always he was known as Mr. Mendelovich.
You got from the Ksav Sofer?
Ksav Sofer. He was a Muslim from the Ksav Sofer. There's nothing to do with this. First of all, not on when he gave smicha, he didn't sign Moshe Feinstein. Okay. To be continued.